Alright, good morning. Let's go over today's trade plan. So in the overnight session, we saw that we got a pretty decent buy response off of the 1647 to 48 support zone. And we bounced back up to that 57 to 58 area, which was a broken support zone acting as resistance. It was also the overnight resistance zone. And we got sellers active over there. And that first bounce back into resistance is a very high odds short. And we usually a while back, a couple of years ago, we used to get this kind of response on the following day, but recently we've seen more and more that the price action is playing out in Globex. So the high odds rotational move that we used to get the following day now just happens in Globex in the overnight session, and that has played out pretty well. Now heading into the open, we have pre-market resistance at 57 quarter to 59.75, the prior VPOC at 1656, and then above it the micro bull bear zone at 62 quarter to 63 quarter, and as long as we hold below that, it tells us that sellers are very much in control. And even on a break above it, we can still get sellers at 65 to 67. But off of 65 to 67, if we even bounce that high, usually we don't even bounce that high after a trend day or after a liquidation day. But in the event that we do, a failure at 65 to 67 would have to get price below 62 quarter again to confirm the sell response and to get a bigger move off of that zone. So right now we will look for short setups at the resistance zones. At the same time, ES is heading into a pretty decent area of support, and that's evident by the decent bounce that we got yesterday or overnight off of the 47s. We got like a 10-11 point bounce off that zone, and at this point we can still get rotations and responsive buyers active at the support zones, but the first order of business off the open is probably going to be the gap fill at 50 half, and pretty likely that will test initial support at least at 45 half to 47 half. Now that area has already produced a pretty decent response, so we will have to be a bit cautious there. And because right now we are in a pretty clear downtrend, and this is a day following a liquidation break, we have to be cautious on the long side anyway. Usually after liquidation, even if you are going to get a pretty decent buy response, it happens below the prior day's range. So 45 half to 47 half calls for caution. We'll be more aggressive on the long side at 38 half to 40 half if price gets down there. Now we do expect rotation off that zone, but it doesn't mean the downside has to stop. Bigger picture, I think we are heading into support areas where there's potential to end this downtrend and stage a reversal, but at the same time we have yet to see any real capitulation on the downside, right? Like we haven't seen any extreme tick readings on the downside, or just a really kind of a panic type sell-off. Even yesterday, the downtrend and the liquidation was pretty orderly. It was very structured. It wasn't this type of move where longs were just puking out of their positions. You would come down to support, you'd get a rotation, then you'd get selling again, and then you'd get a rotation. So it's been a very orderly down move, and sometimes the market reverses off of an orderly down move, and other times, you need to see some real heavy selling and capitulation before you can get a reversal. But in any case, at least for today, the sellers still have edge, and we'll just be a bit more cautious on the long setups, a bit more aggressive on the short setups, and off the open we can get a failure even around this 56 area. It doesn't necessarily have to go all the way back up to 57 quarter to 59.75. It could potentially even fail around 56 quarter, something like that, and then head lower and test the gap, test initial support, and then the break below initial support is going to have higher odds of attracting responsive buyers. for a push back up to the 47 area, right? So right now we're essentially testing this prior balance that we broke out from, and the high volume area within that balance is 1647. So if we break below it and go down 38.5 to 40.5, then the 46.47 area can serve as a target on the upside. And in the event that we head lower, we still expect buyers to be active at the support zones. We have strong support at 29 to 31. That's pretty much an automatic long setup on first test, if price even gets down there. So those are our main ideas heading into the day. More active on the short side, a bit cautious on the long side, and just entering trades at the key zones and looking for at least 5 to 7 point moves with this expanded volume and volatility. We are getting some pretty decent movement, so you can probably stretch out even your first scale a little bit more. So if you are trading with scale outs and you're using scale outs to reduce your risk, then you can probably get even a little bit more on those. So let's see how the opening price action plays out. Let's watch pre-market resistance and the previous close at 50.5, see what kind of action we get there, and then just take it from there.